Hello, my name is Shannon Massey. I am in Memphis, Tennessee, and I am a legacy founder with Monat Global. I started as a customer with Monat the day they launched for business in the United States. I'd been taking care of my father along with my husband, who's my high school sweetheart, and our 4 sons. We had been taking care of my father for 13 months in our home during his cancer battle. Unfortunately, he did pass away in our home in August of 2014. And when he was dying, my hair started falling out. It was stress related, and because he was my favorite person on the planet, and it was heartbreaking. So he passed away in my home in August of 2014. I heard about Monat the next month, and as soon as the company launched in October, I signed up to be a VIP customer. Within about 8 washes, I noticed that my hair was just doing things that it hadn't been doing previously. It wasn't coming out as much in my hands in the shower and on my clothes and that type of thing. And by 3.5 weeks, I even saw shinier hair, more manageable hair. I was having some little hair sprouts up in my hairline, and it was already so much healthier because it had been very brittle, very dry, very over-processed before. And now, 3.5 weeks into using Monat, my husband would come up behind me and run his hands through my hair, which was not something he could do before. So 28 days after becoming a customer, I upgraded to become a market partner, and I did it to get the biggest discount and to see if these products would help people I met when I was taking my dad to chemotherapy. I had no idea at all that my life was about to be changed forever. I started sharing the products to see if they help people that I know. I was still working full-time in corporate America at the time. Again, mom of 4 boys. Had one going into college, one that was still in high school, one that was in middle school at the time, and just very busy in my community. And I was grieving my favorite person on the planet. So I wasn't out there going, oh, this is a great time for me to start a new business. That's not where my head was at. However, after seeing my own results, I did want to see if there were people out there I could help that I cared about, that I'd met when I was taking my dad to chemo. And I just started sharing it with them to see if it would work for them, because it was working for me. And the joy that I got from seeing the joy in other people of what these products were doing, the solutions to things that people struggled with, the pain points that people had with their hair, the self-confidence that was coming out in women in particular, those things gave me so much joy that I just wanted more of it. I would wake up every morning going, okay, who can I help today? Who can I help be a solution to whatever they've got going on with their hair? Because hair is a big deal. Hair, so much of our personality, of our identity is wrapped up in our hair. And I don't come from a cosmetologist background. My job was in global commercial real estate and leasing. So I had never thought about the fact that hair was such a big deal before. I knew my hair was a big deal to me. I'd never thought about it's a big deal to everyone individually, especially women. But I was very quickly finding that out, and just the joy of helping so many people just took over me. And I would wake up early before I went to work and work on my lunch break and after work and weekends and everything, and every day I would say, who can I help today? And I will say that 4.5 years later, I still wake up and say that every morning, who can I help today? So very quickly the business started growing. I was pouring a lot into it because it was such a passion of mine and still is. And I started seeing incredible things changing with my family, because my husband's a police officer. He's been in law enforcement for 26 years. And we lived paycheck to paycheck with the boys' school tuition, which we got financial aid for 9 years for our boys' school. just, it's expensive to live, just bills. There were many months where I was calling the light company going, what is the minimum I can pay on this to keep my lights on this month? That was a common thing. So there was never enough money left over at the end of the month. And, but with my Monat business, it started changing so many things with my family, and the income that started coming in was just such a blessing. So there was a founder's opportunity when I joined. As a matter of fact, the girl who told me about Monat in September of 2014, when the company was in pre-launch still, told me about the founder's opportunity. But again, I was grieving the loss of my father. I really just wanted to see if this would help with the hair loss issue that I had. And so I was focused on the products. And when I became a market partner and learned more about the founder's opportunity, I knew that you had to reach the market mentor rank. It was a mid-level rank within the comp plan, that type of thing. And I actually did that in 7 months of becoming a market partner, which means I was a founder. And that was really cool. I got these beautiful champagne flutes, this nameplate, all this kind of stuff. And it was very cool. So we started getting our quarterly profit sharing, and we didn't know what to expect. Is it going to be like, $20 or what? And, it was a nominal amount at the beginning, but it has just continued to grow and grow and grow and grow. And I want to share one thing that stands out in my mind. When my son was going into his junior year of high school, this was right before Monat, I found a piece of paper in his backpack where he had been invited to go to Washington, D.C. For a leadership council for high schoolers. And it was based on his own merit, his own grades, his leadership in his school and all that kind of thing. It was sent to several high schoolers across the nation. And I asked my son Mark about it when I found it in his backpack. And I said, why didn't you tell me about this? And he said, because I knew that we couldn't afford for me to go. And he was right. It was $800 for Mark to go to DC on this week-long trip. And as a mother, I was crushed. I felt like a failure, honestly. But I was determined he was going on this trip. We could not afford to send him, which goes to say a lot for what if we had a major emergency or, a car breakdown or something. We couldn't even afford $800 to send Mark to this leadership event in DC. So I created a GoFundMe page, and through the donations of friends and family and church members, we raised the $800, and Mark was able to go on the trip, and it ended up being a phenomenal trip for him. So that didn't feel good. It didn't feel good at all. It didn't feel good that my son didn't even tell me he had been invited to this because he knew we couldn't afford it. So to fast forward to what Monat has done for my family, if my son, Mark is now going to be a senior in college, and he's in the process of applying to dental school, and he could have studied abroad this summer, which is very expensive. And because of Monat, if he had chosen to study abroad this summer, I could have just written a check for that. There wouldn't have been a GoFundMe page. And that, to me, is one of the biggest blessings of this company, is what Joe, my husband, and I are able to do for our children now that we couldn't do before, that we had to say no to before or look to other resources to pay before. The founder's profit sharing pool is a legacy founder. The income in just 2018 that I brought home as part of my income not only paid for the balance on Mark's junior year of college, but it also paid for my son Michael's entire sophomore year of high school. And you heard me say earlier that we had to get financial aid for that for 9 years. For the past 2 years, I have not had to apply for financial aid to his school, and it's tuition has gone up at his school. Let's just say that. So not only have we not had to apply for financial aid the past 2 years, but we were actually able to give a $10,000 donation back to this Christian school that he goes to, just as a thank you for the financial aid that they've given us for 9 years, which far exceeds that $10,000. But that's a start. That's a start for where we're giving back to them, and we give back to them monthly now. And it's just so touching to be able to now be a part of other boys being able to go to this school. It's a all boys Christian college preparatory school. And I just can't say enough about it. It has been, number one, the best business decision I've ever made in my entire life. It's changed my family's future. It's changed our present. We rented homes for 9 years. 9 years we lived in someone else's home renting, and we were able to buy our dream home in September of 2018. And I wake up every morning and I walk out of my bedroom and I walk into my kitchen and I get my coffee, and I thank God every morning for the blessing that Monat has been for my family. And I live in a perpetual state of gratitude for this company, the leaders, the owners. It's just such a huge blessing, and I hope that you find it to be a huge blessing too. Thank you.